Thank you very much for the introduction, Jason. As always, it's a pleasure to participate in Creatio's incredible events just like these. And with that, hello! Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you. As Jason said, my name is Basil Malik and I'm the CRM practice leader at Blytheco. Today, I'm here to talk about how manufacturing organizations can revolutionize the customer experience with no-code. We'll cover omnichannel case management, which I'm not sure about the rest of you, but wow, that's a lot of syllables. And it can be intimidating for those who are not familiar with the term. But I promise it's not nearly as scary as it sounds. I'll explain what it is and why it's important. Then we'll jump into automating processes using no-code. And we'll round out the session with how to take the concepts and ideas from today's session and implement transformative strategies along with some best practices. With that, let's get started. So what is omnichannel case management? To put it simply, it's a concept that emphasizes what avenues your customers can use to contact you. In the world of service, this can be via a phone call where your customer is either reaching out directly to one of your employees or calling the general support line. They can also send an email to a centralized email inbox where your team can work through the queue and triage the issues that come in. This next one is admittedly a bit forward-facing and more for companies that do B2C business, but customers sometimes prefer to keep their communications restricted to SMS or text messages. Another method is through form fills on your website. Those aren't only there just for capturing new leads. Website forms play a pivotal role in streamlining the submission of customer service issues and requiring specific information before they ever get touched by someone from your team. Fax or facsimiles. We're going a bit old school on this one, but there are still quite a number of businesses that rely on faxes to share confidential information. Chat applications. Think of these as you would any pop-up chat service that you see on websites. These can be interactive chat applications or even chatbots. In either case, the goal is similar to a form fill where you want to give the customer the ability to solve a problem on their own or require a certain subset of information first. Messaging platforms like WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, or Telegram have become increasingly popular for not only individuals, but also businesses that deal with consumers or sell their products and services internationally. Social media. Everybody has an opinion, and they tend to air it over platforms like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, among others. Businesses are increasingly seeking to integrate social media into their customer service processes to proactively identify detractors of their business. And lastly, self-service portals. As much as we love interacting with customers, minor sarcasm in some cases, some people want the ability to do things themselves. Each of these methods are known as a channel. So, what exactly is omnichannel case management really? It's a way of taking all of these inroads or channels that customers have at their disposal to contact you. Omnichannel case management is the process of aggregating all of those channels into one centralized location to ensure your customer-facing teams don't have to go to multiple locations to check the pulses of each of those channels. Now, I channeled my inner Bob Ross to create this simplified visual of how it's supposed to look. Notice that everything flows back to one central point. That is the centralized hub that they all flow into. And that is exactly where Creatio fits. Using Creatio's native ability to connect to any of these channels, either through APIs, web services, or even connectors on the marketplace, you can bring all of the relevant and disparate data into one spot, reducing the administrative burden placed on your teams. Now, that's all well and good, but what do you do with the inquiries once they arrive? I'm glad you asked. You build processes to effectively triage and manage the life cycle of each type of inquiry, be it a complaint, return, post on social media, or any of the many classifications of a customer service issue. With no-code, you're able to build these processes in impactful ways like you see here in this product verification template. Note the various icons that are placed throughout the process. These are a small sampling of the several actions that you can use to curate the user experience and create the best path to travel. This allows you to handle all items from the origination of the customer service thing to its final stopping point. You can also include as many side paths as needed to adequately manage the customer's needs. So what service processes can you streamline? If you have a complex warranty process that requires a series of checks and balances, this is a great place to start. You can build out a process that walks the warranty from submission all the way to resolution and disposition of the warranty claim. You can even go so far as to have multiple warranty processes in place to ensure that all of your products and services have appropriate steps built into each warranty process. Returns. Let's face it, they happen. Building processes that ensure you're able to capture anything incredibly pertinent regarding a return is so important in the world of manufacturing. What was the lot? What was the batch or serial number of a return product? Based on the raw materials used in that product's manufacturing process, what steps or actions do you need to take to ensure you're doing the necessary due diligence to fully identify the scope of the impact of that return? This is critical for all manufacturers and doubly important when things like ISO certifications and compliance enter the conversation. I'll refrain from going too much further, but I will say that some of our customers leverage CRM to create a reverse identification process that connects the manufactured good to a raw material, that connects back to the vendor that sourced the raw material. It's incredibly impressive how far you can take these kinds of processes with enough imagination and vision. Complaints. Nobody likes a whiner, but let's be real. Anytime you do business with people, you're going to have to accept that someone is going to have something to say about how you operate or your product. Not everything is going to work the way the customer expects, and this holds especially true for the customers that don't read the fine print, end user agreement, or anything intended to educate them on the use of your product or service. Field service is a hot button item for most manufacturers that have technicians in the field. Streamlining the processes that the technicians can use while on site to troubleshoot a problem that has a resolution documented somewhere and can be easily accessed allows you to not only manage their productivity, but also their agility while troubleshooting issues in the field. Now, field service and field sales tend to get interchanged frequently, and rightfully so for some organizations. Regardless of which reference is correct, the good news is that you can actually manage the processes for both. And with that, I'll amend my original question from what service processes can I streamline to what processes can I streamline? And the simple answer is, well, any process. Some of you may have attended Creatio's Freedom Release event this past February. If you weren't able to attend, I'll keep it abbreviated and say that the release is chock full of powerful new features and capabilities for the world of no-code. These tools have one goal, the freedom to create. By enabling your team to build concepts or working applications within Creatio, you're enabling your team to have an even greater ownership of the Creatio platform. Here's a quick peek at some of the images that were shared at the event. In them, you can see that using these no-code tools, you can take something from a simple idea to framing up how the application should look and feel and the data that should be captured or displayed, to tweaking the functionality based on the feedback from your teams, to implementing simple cosmetic changes such as branding, to the inception of the application. The choice is yours whether you want it to be a full solution ready for general consumption, a beta, or a minimum viable product that can be rolled out to select team members to stress test. The key point here is that the choice is yours on how you go from the idea to the rollout of your application. It's a very powerful interface that hands you the keys to the kingdom of innovation. All of that sounds great, and it's wonderful in theory, but how can you truly transform your organization using no-code tools? Start by putting your culture first. Your organization exists for a reason, and you've found a winning recipe of how you want your company to operate. These are your operating principles, the things that guide your customer interactions, and effectively, your it factor. Put yourself in your customer's shoes. Knowing your customer journey gives you the ground level insight into the path they walk from the initial point of contact, from being a lead, to ultimately requesting a quote, becoming a prospect, to making a purchase, becoming a customer. All of this to allow them to effectively go from that customer point to requesting service and everything else that could potentially happen in between. Identify where it makes sense to automate. keeping your culture in mind, what aspects of what you do can you automate? And more importantly, which aspects should you automate? This concept ties back to the first point. If you automate too much of your processes, you run a risk of diluting your culture. If you don't automate enough, you increase the administrative burden on your teams. There's a fine line to be observed here to ensure your culture stays intact. And when you're not sure how much to automate, start small. The key to build success with automation is to start with a finite scope. Keep your aim small at first, and as you work through the complexities of your processes, scale on that success. Continue expanding the reach of your processes to continue driving efficiencies in everything that you do. The goal is to build processes consistently to meet customers where they are. This doesn't just refer to the channel that they're tuning in from, but also their appetite for technology. Not everyone likes technology at first. They have to warm up to it. Think about how much disruption you're implementing, not just to your customers, but to your employees as well. They're your customers too. If you meet all customers where they are, this allows you to make it all about them. You'll find that you're able to drive higher customer satisfaction scores by leveraging technology where it makes sense. This allows your employees to not only engage with your customers on a level playing field, but also allows your front office teams to connect to your customers at a level that's appropriate for them. Lastly, never stop improving. Take these same principles to any other area of your organization, be it sales, finance and accounting, marketing, or operations. Keep pushing forward with positive disruption, and you'll continue finding success in your transformative journey. It will keep your employees, your leaders, and you grounded to what makes your organization uniquely you. And as a cherry on top, it'll keep your customers continuously thrilled to do business with you. And with that, you made it. I want to thank each of you very much for your time and attention. If you'd like to learn more about how we are helping our customers embrace transformation, our contact information is below, as well as my own email address. Take care, and I hope you're having a wonderful day and that you're enjoying the rest of today's sessions. Jason, back to you, sir.